Hey Rick, if the saviors do show up, I don't know, I'm thinking if it's not too late, should we try and make some kind of deal?
Tell him to wait for me. I got a deal for him. Let's go.
It's Lyle Winstrom, your subspace meditator, coming to you with some post-Walking Dead Season 6 finale, Last Day on Earth afterthoughts. Folks, I gotta tell you, that was an intense season finale. I was, in fact, on the edge of my seat, but I will tell you that I do have some minor criticisms, but we'll get to that in a minute. First, I wanted to tell you that in my last video, I had talked with you about the idea that I believe, quite frankly, that the saviors were being underestimated, that the family was, in fact, thinking of them as being a much weaker force than what they actually turned out to be, and I believe that my analysis was correct. I didn't go into a lot of specifics with you and a lot of, perspicuous detail with you about why I believed what I believed, but I gave you some examples from video that showed you what I was talking about, or at least gave you some clues as to what I was talking about, as to how the family was underestimating the saviors, underestimating their strength, underestimating their organization, underestimating their skills. And in this episode, you see that culminated to the maximum, where the family is captured in the end. Basically, all of the leaders of Alexandria, Rick, Michonne, Daryl, Abraham, Sasha, Rosita, Eugene, virtually the entire leadership of Alexandria, all of them captured and put to the ground before Negan, and someone getting the business end of Lucille. But before we get to that, this is what we're looking at. The saviors here showing themselves to be well organized, showing themselves throughout this episode not only to know what's going on with Rick, but knowing more about him than Rick knows about them. Their organization, their intelligence network is very sophisticated, and they've got the sheer numbers to make the difference. And this is something Rick still doesn't understand, that he still failed to see throughout his entire dealings with them. And this is what I was trying to tell you about why the underestimation of the saviors went as it went, and why Rick and company wound up in the situation they wound up in before Negan. Glenn was right when he said that they needed more information about the saviors, and they didn't get that information, and this is the consequence. Let's see some more of that. Second ambush of Negan's forces, second ambush of the saviors against our people. Each and every time, as you see, not only do the ambushes get more sophisticated, but the numbers get larger, the intimidation gets better. There is definitely a psychological component to what is happening here, a logistical component.
Get ready. One of us behind the wheel, that's 5 on 16. We're gonna play it our way, how we want it.
But he doesn't. You can see this clearly. He does not play it the way he wants it. Every time you see that the saviors are leading them further and further into a trap, one set by them where they know everything that's going on well before Rick and his people know what's happening. And unfortunately, Rick continues to go forward. Why? It's very obvious why. Need compels him and his people to keep going. Maggie is in trouble. She needs a doctor. They can only risk going forward. They can't go back, despite the obvious fact that this is a trap, despite the obvious fact that they are continuing to be cornered every time. You see here that the saviors are not only outmaneuvering the family logistically, but they're outmaneuvering them psychologically.
Treating your people good, right? It was your last day on Earth. Or maybe one of theirs.
So I want you to understand
It's gonna get hot.
that this is what happens in the culmination, in the finality of all things, when Rick faces Negan and he realizes for the first time that he is totally and completely outclassed and that he fully underestimated what was happening with this man and with his group.
This is Lucille, and she is awesome.
And that music is creepy as frack. Dang, man. But look at this, people. What I want you to see here is that for the first time,
This is just so we can pick
Rick is
out
beginning to
which one
finally
gets
understand
the honor.
the awesome, terrible moment that he has put his people in here. He's finally beginning to see the responsibility that is on his shoulders, and his will and his resoluteness to stand firm is cracking. Only here, look at, only Abraham is standing firm and resolute before Negan. Even though he can't stand up on his feet, he's rising up on his knees to say, if you want to take me, you SOB, I'm right here, and I'm not begging you for nothing. I'm not retreating for anything. Rick is cracking up. His resoluteness, his determination as a leader is breaking from that confidence that you saw at the beginning where he said, tell them to wait for me, I got a deal for them. No longer. He's finally beginning to understand what he is going through, what his people are going through, that he put them in this situation, including Carl, and that any one of them now could face death. Or perhaps even all of them. He doesn't know how Negan works. For all Rick knows, Negan may kill every last one of them. This is it. This is the face of confusion, of fear, of resolve gone, of will defeated, of confusion. One that says, I don't understand how I got here. I don't understand why my people are in this situation, why I put my people in this situation. And at this point, I'm thinking to myself, Rick might even be willing to die in order to save everybody else. If only you'll pick me, I'm thinking he's thinking in his mind, quite honestly. Pick me. Let me be the one to face your wrath. Let me be the one to taste the sting of Lucille. I'll take that for my people. I'm thinking all of these kinds of things are going through Rick's mind right now, including the fact that he wants to save Carl above everyone else there. But this is not how Negan works, folks. Somebody's going to get picked. Now, we don't know who that is as of the season finale, and quite frankly, that's something I'm quite ticked off about, to be honest with you. But, leaving that aside, these are the kinds of things that I'm thinking are going through Rick's mind. How did I get here? How did I get my people here? And what happened? Where did I go wrong? I am responsible. I alone am responsible for the fate that befell us here. And what can I do? And the answer right now, at least, is nothing. Absolutely and utterly nothing. The Rick Grimes who emerges from this trial will be greater, stronger, better. He will be a man of far superior substance. Now, in the interim, there will be trials. There will be tests for him to overcome. And there will be a period of doubt. There may even be a period of introspection where he goes into isolation, where he retreats from leadership, where he retreats from his people to a certain degree, and where he will need this if you want to use this language, he will need this wilderness experience where he has to go and be by himself, not just in the physical sense, but in the mental and emotional sense, where he may in fact isolate himself from even some of those who are closest to him, such as his son, Michonne, and perhaps even from little Judith, even though we know that she's not capable of understanding these things yet. This may be a necessary component of what has to happen to Rick before he can emerge from this trial as a better individual, a better human being, a better leader. But in time, as Deanna once told Michonne, this pain will be useful to Rick. And when it comes time to finally overthrow Negan, to overthrow the tyranny of Negan and the Saviors, the Rick Grimes who comes out of that ready to do so will be a stronger and better individual. And we can talk in the interim about how he and Negan are the same, and how maybe Rick and the governor are the same, and all this other kind of stuff. But I think that there's going to be something superior to any of those kinds of comparisons in the Rick Grimes that emerges from this test. So let's see what happens as season 7 rolls on. That's what I have to say about this for now. Now, in my next video, I'm going to talk about maybe some of the other things that happened with this episode, about how it ended. But we'll leave that aside for now. In this particular video, I wanted to talk with you about why I believe, in fact, the Saviors are not punks. They are not pushovers. They will not be easy to defeat, and neither will Negan. Charismatic that he, sociopath, psychopath that he is not a pushover. He is not a punk. And I think that our heroes are going to have to work hard, and that they're going to have to find a new level and new layer of strength to emerge from this and be successful. This will not be an easy test, but it will be a worthy one, and it will be drama worthy to the max if it's done correctly. This should be some of the highest drama we've ever seen in episodic television history coming up next season in The Walking Dead. So, until then, we'll see you next time. This has been your Subspace Meditator, Lyle Winstrom, out.